Hi, thank you for joining us again. In the last episode, we interviewed Joram. That was part 2. If you haven't watched part 1 and 2, please be sure to do so first. In this episode, we'll be concluding our interview with Joram. I am Solomon Wangwe. You're watching Own Land in Kenya. What are your feelings now? I mean, I know you bought probably just about 4 years ago. You and your wife made the decision to invest in land through Goshen acquisitions.
Yes.
What are your feelings now about the development or the prospects of your investment now that time has passed?
So quite honestly, I think the investments have completely surpassed our expectations. Particularly in Amali. So at the time we did the investment, we knew that we were going to be close to a golf resort, their golf resort. What we came to realize later on is that we are sharing a fence with them right on the road. And as a result, they had put a significant amount of investment into accessibility and power in that area because it's a huge development. Before long, we had the standard gauge railway project kicking off. And before we knew it, there was a huge camp for building the railway right at Amali. And as a result of that, the place has ended up really developing quite fast. I mean, we even have a Nakumat there now in the town nearby. Initially, when we just passed by there, when we were going to buy the land, there was hardly anything in that town. Now it's bustling with activity. And then later on, we also found out there's a cement factory that was set up not too far from the land as well. And then a canning factory has also been set up, again, not too far from the place. So those were not part of the discussions we had earlier on. I think it was just a golf park. And, even as we discussed it, it was still in planning stages. So now all those things have come to pass. I think in terms of value, the land has probably appreciated several times over, close to 5 times. So we are really thinking about our initial plans now. We are probably changing our plans in terms of what to do in that area because of it has developed quite a bit and become a lot more developed than what was there before. The other side, the Konza side, was when we did the investment. Again, there was discussions around the techno city that was to be built, and soon after that, I think because of political issues, those discussions seemed to have been falling by the wayside. But that has also gotten back on track, and a lot of developments have been done in the area as well, and now the government is investing not as quickly as we initially hoped, but steadily. And so in both areas, we have like major economic activity that has sprung up around the investments that we made. And increased the values significantly.
I know one of the other things that we never foresaw, even ourselves, was the fact that they would divert the new standard gauge railway almost 7 kilometers from its initial path to just about within a kilometer from our site.
Yes, exactly. And now there's actually, I think there's going to be a major railway station right near where we
absolutely.
So nowadays we joke a lot that we might actually just build there and then we'll be taking the train to work in Nairobi and back when it's up and running. But let's see how that goes once it's up and running.
Well, let me just take advantage of this point to share that this is one of the key factors around making early investments in frontier parts of the country. We make projections based on current investments being made either publicly or privately, but very often you can't account for everything. And so I'm really glad to hear you share your experience being an early buyer as far as Goshen acquisitions is concerned. You've had time to see that trajectory that not very many people get the opportunity to. And I thank you for sharing that. And finally, what would you say to someone out there who's maybe not invested before for whatever reason. They're afraid of getting conned. They're not sure it's the right place. Maybe they think they can't afford it. What would you say to someone like that?
I think our experience with Goshen was that the process was always very straightforward. You've always been very honest with us with both the good news and the bad news, depending on what could be going on during the process of acquisition. And I think what that process ends up developing is a lot of trust that you actually have our best interest at heart as a company, and therefore we don't spend too much time looking over our shoulders or worried about what could be going on behind the scenes. It's actually, you have peace of mind as you're doing the investment. I think you also presented to us various options that were within amounts of money that we had. So, it wasn't just one type of investment, but you presented us options based on what it is we were able to afford at the time.
Sure,
So it felt like the experience was tailor-made, and there was no pressure to go beyond what it is we were able to afford. So I would say there was a lot of peace of mind doing it. And even as you always present other options, and maybe we have resources to do it or not, what we never question the veracity of the investment. It's just whether we can afford it or not at that point in time.
Sure.
And so that's I would say it's a good mental process to go through, where you're not really worried about the investment that you're making. You're sure that you're getting a good investment.
Right.
So it's just a question of being able to make the purchase and wait for the returns to happen as you go along, and
right.
And dream of what is possible on that piece of investment.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And would you buy again?
Oh, definitely. We are planning to, as we build up our our resources. So like I'd said, because we have different investment classes, we always have to prioritize based on what we can afford. So we're always allocating our resources across different investments. But yes, we definitely plan to invest again based on whatever opportunities come up and what we think we can do on that investment.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that. Once again, I just want to say thank you to you and Grace for trusting us. It's not something we take for granted. There's all manner of institutions and people to buy land from and make those investments. So we never take it for granted that you would choose to trust us with that process. And I wish you and your family the best of success continuing to invest for your future.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And we also look to continue investing in you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Joram Mwinamo. I'm a strategy and entrepreneurship consultant, and I run a company called WYLDE International. Basically, what we do is help companies across the region in Africa to be able to structure themselves and build themselves up. I'm also a client of Goshen Acquisitions, and I've purchased 2 pieces of property from them. And what I would say about Goshen is that they take you through a very intelligent process of making a decision on whether to acquire an investment or not. And the fact that they do it with very good customer service, and also a process that entails a lot of integrity across the board, makes it a very painless process of acquiring an investment in land. And you do it with peace of mind, knowing that whatever you're acquiring is a solid investment and something that will definitely bring you a good return.